Hi everyone, this is BritSimon. So I wanted to give you an update with regard to the legal situation at the moment. There is some talk about another lawsuit being filed, and I wanted to address that particular lawsuit and talk about where things stand for DV 2020 in particular. So as we know, the AILA team achieved a result on right at the end of the fiscal year for DV 2020 to set aside or reserve 9,095 visas which could be potentially used after the end of the year. That was a very important judgment given by Judge Mehta. If he had not done that, the fiscal year would have ended and there would have been no opportunity to get further visas beyond that point. The arguments, the legal arguments, are not completed on that yet. The government is appealing. I haven't been filling you in on all of the activity behind the scenes, but there is activity. The lawyers are still fighting. They're fighting to get to the point where the embassies could start issuing those visas, but we don't know when that will be, and we don't know for sure that that's going to be the outcome. The government, of course, are appealing that decision from Judge Mehta in the first place. So the legal arguments are by no means over. The AILA team actually have been given responsibility by Judge Mehta to represent all of the selectees in DV 2020 classed together under the Gomez case, but also including the named plaintiffs from the other cases, such as the Kennedy lawsuit, the Fong Zhong and Acker cases. Now, those cases, with the exception of Kennedy's lawsuit, the Kennedy lawsuit by Curtis Morrison, those cases have largely been adjudicated now. So the only remaining named cases that would be sort of looking at the 9,095 visas would be those from the Kennedy lawsuit. At the moment, though, there is another lawyer who's probably a good lawyer, and I've seen she's very active on Twitter and has been commenting on and commentating on the legal scenarios as things go forward. She is suggesting another lawsuit, and it's a bit of concern because, to be perfectly honest, I can't see the legal path for that one. The argument she intends to make is that the end of the fiscal year was somehow handled unlawfully, and that's frankly a hard argument to make. That's not the basis upon which the other lawsuits were based. And so I'm a little bit concerned about that new lawsuit because frankly everybody is covered under the existing AILA lawsuit. And so I've spoken to the lawyers, and I think the consensus is at the moment nobody needs to be signing up onto new lawsuits about DV 2020. It's your choice at the end of the day. You can do what you want to do. If you feel that your interests are best served by signing on to another lawsuit, then feel free. That's up to you. I can't say you shouldn't do it. All I can say is I don't understand the legal path for that lawsuit, and I'm not alone in that opinion, shall we say. So that's your choice. If you want to go ahead and do that, that's your call. Alternatively, you can wait and see how the current lawsuit activity plays out. It's a frustrating time, I get that, I understand that. It's a scary time for those of you that are still waiting. Normally DV 2020 would be long since gone. It's only the lawsuit that has kept any part of that alive, and only for those now 9,095 visas that are yet to be issued. If they start issuing those visas, and that in itself is not decided, but if they do, it's likely that those visas will go to lower case numbers and people that are ready for interview right now, that have already been passed to the embassies, or cases in AP. So if you're not in that group, then the chances are that even if the 9,095 visas can start to be issued, chances are you won't get your visa. And I know that's probably disappointing news to some of you. It will be the reality for some of you. But that's the reality of where we stand. There's no point sort of reopening that box in a sense. That's where we are. We have to remember that the lawsuit was able to achieve over 6,000 visas being issued in the last few weeks of September, which is an amazing result. And the 9,000 that were set aside on the 30th of September, again, that's an amazing result. It rarely, if ever, happens. But to try and change the way the law is written at this point is not really possible. The other question that people ask me is whether the additional visas, unused visas from DV 2020 can be reclaimed. They can't be reclaimed through a legal process, and that's part of my concern with this other lawsuit. They can't be reclaimed that way. The 9,095 visas is set, and that was set prior to the end of the fiscal year, and so that's sort of set in stone, right? If there is an opportunity to increase the number of visas available, it would require an act of law by Congress. Although people are asking for that, although there is some sort of lobbying going on right now to ask for that in next year, that is by no means an easy thing to get done. And you have to remember that America is thinking about Americans right now. The lawmakers, the people in Congress, the senators, etc., are most concerned with the safety, security, and economic well-being of America. So they've got a lot on their plate. The COVID virus is still an extraordinary happening, terrible event. Has claimed almost 250,000 lives here in the US now, and the rates are going up. The number of sicknesses are going up tremendously. So, what that will do and what the lawmakers are going to be fighting over the next few months, we don't know, but it's going to be tough. And so, is their focus going to be on DV lottery for DV 2020? Honestly, I don't think so. So, that's my personal opinion. You're free to believe and hope for whatever you want, but I just don't think that's going to be the focus of our government over the next few months. So for DV 2020, that's where we stand. Quick thing about DV 2021, there is a lawsuit ongoing at the moment, which aims to sort of spur on the way that KCC are handling cases at the moment. We still don't know whether they're going to schedule interviews starting in January. We still have embassies that are closed. We're still being affected by COVID, obviously, all around the world, but particularly in the USA. And so there is reason to be nervous for DV 2021 as well. So we have to wait and see how that plays out. I'll come back and do more videos on that. DV 2022 entry period is now over. It won't be until May until we hear anything at all about that. And processing of DV 2022 won't start until October of next year. So that's a long way off. And the last thing is just about the recent election. The election results are decided. The only person that doesn't want to accept that is Trump and his team. There's nothing that can be done by them to stop the inevitable inauguration of President Biden, as he will be on January 20th. So President-elect Biden is now trying to put his plans in place. One of the things that he has said he is going to do is remove the Muslim ban, the travel ban 3.0. So that one should be removed. He hasn't talked about the other bans, such as PP 10014, because those bans may not even exist when he comes into power. So if those bans exist, then he'll have to look at those too. And we don't know how he's going to act. He obviously needs to be concerned about COVID, but doesn't take the same sort of bigoted, racist position that Trump would naturally lean towards. So it's unlikely that he would support a continuation of 10014 or anything like that. And but we have to wait and see what he does. Okay, so I hope that's all clear to you. I did want to just sort of touch base with you and just let you know how I felt about that lawsuit. So right now, everybody just needs to be in a waiting mode. Just wait for the AILA process to play out through court, and it's probably going to be December or January before we know anything on that on that process. So it's going to be a long process, and the lawyers can keep keep appealing on both sides, etc. Things can go on. So you just have to be patient at the moment. I'm afraid that's the only way. All right. Okay, everybody. Please do subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you like this sort of information, and make sure you're informed when I produce more videos. And of course, do read my blog, which is where most of the information is already there. That you could possibly need to process your DV 2021 case, or any questions you have about DV 2022. But for DV 2020, it's just wait and see. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.